It's the airnetwork.net. Area 5 Teener League action continues tonight with the 15 and 16-year-olds as Huntingdon gets set to take on Penns Valley in Huntingdon. Tonight's game, by the way, brought to you by Rick Singleton Rentals, William Penn Highway, Huntingdon, and by the Ike Taylor Show, coming this fall to the airnetwork.net. The game is also brought to you tonight by Sam's Garage in Huntingdon, Prayer Mountain Monuments, Stonetown Gallery, Cafe and Wine Bar, Cloud Minders in downtown Huntingdon, and by the Huntingdon County Drop-In Center at 512 Washington Street. And now here with all the action of today's game, it's Chad States live on the airnetwork.net. Chad?
Hey, welcome to another edition of Huntingdon Teener League Baseball. Tonight it's the Huntingdon 15, 16-year-olds against the Penns Valley 15, 16-year-olds. We're moments away from first pitch here as Jack Johnson is towing the slab for Huntingdon. He was the winner was actually a loser in the first game that Huntingdon played against Bellefonte. We're ready to go here. Pitch number one, and it is outside and high, ball number one. And we'll set the Penns Valley lineup here for you. Leading off and playing second base is Jared Hines. Playing shortstop is Nate Gillespie. Left field is Cam Schaefer. And third base is Thomas Kaufman. There's strike call for Johnson and evens the count up at 1-1 on Kynes. Doing the pitching tonight is Jesse Darlington. Right field is Calvin Russell. Doing the catching is Cole Breon. Playing first base, Matt Tobias. And in center field is Jacob Daniel. Johnson's count is 2-1 on Kynes right now. We'll set the Huntingdon defense here for you when we get the chance. Behind the plate is Alec Hess. Over at first base, Alex Mikett. Second base, Nate Fleming. Shortstop is Aiden Walters. And at third base is Ryan Breckbill. And there's a pitch and delivery by Johnson, and that's in there for a strike. Evens the count at 2-2. Center fielder tonight for Huntingdon is Owen Lane. Over in left field is Jarris Warner. And in right field is John Basom. And doing the extra hitting tonight for Huntingdon will be Hunter Woomer. 2-2 pitch on the way from Johnson is in there for a called strike three, and Kynes goes down on strikes for out number one of the baseball game. Those of you who have followed Juniata Valley baseball throughout the year know that Johnson was one of the key cogs in their District 6 title run. And in fact, I think he was the pitcher in the District 6 title game, throwing 6 innings and getting the win for the Green Hornets back then. So Johnson, a very formidable foe out here on the mound. And he's set to deliver a curveball strike on Nate Gillespie. So the curveball is breaking for Johnson here today. He's got the count at 0-1 on the shortstop Gillespie from Penns Valley. Set to deliver again. Another curveball, this time high. Johnson, a fast worker on the mound. So as he gets the ball, he walks back up, gets set, and he's in that wind-up position and ready to go. Huntingdon is now 2-2 in tournament play. Penns Valley comes in with a 2-1 record. 1-1 delivery on the way. Fastball strike two for Johnson. 1-2 the count now. Johnson working fast again. He's really peppering the strike zone here. Familiar foe with him catching is Alec Hess. They actually played together in season, so this is a good battery mate for Johnson to be throwing to. 1-2 your count, the batter on Gillespie. Swing and a strike and a miss. Hess drops the ball, but he'll quickly throw down to first for out number two. Will also be recorded as a strikeout. So 2 batters, 2 strikeouts for Jack Johnson. Next up will be Cam Schaefer, the left fielder for Penns Valley. Johnson looking impressive early. This is not a surprise. He is probably the best pitcher in the league this year. Didn't get to pitch that much due to his pitching for the varsity team for Juniata Valley. Shakes off the sign from Hess. Johnson delivers first pitch. Outside, strike number one. So that's 3 batters and 3 first pitch strikes for Johnson. And that's a good start. Definitely want to try to work ahead of the batters. Let's set up in the windup. Delivery into pitch. The 0-1 is a curveball fouled off behind the first base dugout. Strike number 2. 0-2 your count on the left fielder, Schaefer. Now it's set to deliver the 0-2 pitch. And fastball high and up, and strike 3 is your call, and that will end the inning with 3 strikeouts. So no runs on no hits, no errors, and nobody left, thanks to Jack Johnson fanning the side, and Penns Valley goes down with no runs. So end of the half inning, Penns Valley 0 and Huntington coming to bat. Greg, back to you in the studio, but that's the way you'd like to mow them down, man.
Hey, sounds good so far. 3 up, 3 down. It's the AirNetwork.net. Tonight's game, by the way, brought to you by Cloudminders in downtown Huntingdon at 519 Washington Street. Your celebration station for all your party needs. From balloons, party gear, and so much more, Cloudminders makes your party planning much easier. Stop by Cloudminders 10 to 6 Monday to Friday and 9 to 5 on Saturdays, closed Sundays and holidays. Give them a call at 643-5121 and look for Cloudminders on Facebook. The game is also brought to you by Sam's Garage at 214 Washington Street, Huntingdon. They've been owned and operated for 37 years and recently purchased by Todd Wilson back in 2014 with excellent service. Stop by Sam's Garage for state inspections, major or minor vehicle repairs, and all brands of tires and accessories. Sam's Garage open Monday to Friday from 9 to 5 with appointments on Saturdays and Sundays. Call Sam's Garage at 643-0616. More of tonight's 15-16-year-old game, Area 5 Teener League action. Back to Huntingdon Field. Here is Chad States. Chad?
Thanks, Greg. And at half inning showed that Jack Johnson's got the stuff of what it makes on the mound with 3 straight strikeouts there. We'll run down the Huntington lineup for you tonight. Leading off will be Owen Lane. Batting second, Jarris Warner. He's the left fielder. Playing third base is Ryan Breckville. He'll be batting third. Doing the cleanup will be Alex Mikett over at first base. Hitting in the fifth slot, Nate Fleming at third base. Doing the catching tonight and batting sixth is Alec Hess. Pitching tonight, batting seventh is Jack Johnson. Playing shortstop, and in the eighth slot is Aiden Walters. Batting ninth and playing right field is Jonathan Basom. And the extra hitter tonight in the 10th slot will be Hunter Woomer. So go around the horn here for Penns Valley and set the defense. Breon doing the catching, Tobias over at first, Kynes at second, Gillespie at short, Kaufman over at third base. We'll have Schaefer in left field, Daniels in center, and Russell in right. So we get ready to get started with the bottom half of the inning. Owen Lane, slick hitting right-hander, probably one of the best hitters in the league this year, will step up to the plate to face pitcher Jesse Darlington. And Darlington's first pitch is a curveball fouled off by Lane over the first base dugout. Again, another beautiful evening down here at this, just like I said, gorgeous facility. You ever get a chance to come down, this is one of the better ones you're going to see in the entire state. 0-1 delivery is on the outside for ball number 1. 1-1 your count on Lane. Third base coach tonight for Huntington is a familiar face. That's Bill Peters, who used to coach Juniata Valley. And Lane hits a fly ball to left field. Left fielder Schaefer sets up underneath it and makes the catch for out number 1. So no base runners for either team so far through 4 batters. Batter will be the left fielder, Jarris Warner. And we'll see if he can do anything here to get on base. Warner real close to the plate here, so see what he does with an inside pitch. Darlington's delivery, high and up for ball number 1. Light breeze here, blowing left to right, a little bit to right field. Not really too strong at all. Kind of a calm day. 1-0 delivery in there for a strike. Evens the count up at 1-1 on Werner. And Penns Valley with a 2-1 record. Huntington at 2-2. And that ball is fouled back, running the count to 1-2 on Jarris. Darlington, the right-hander, getting ready to deal the 1-2 pitch. And a curveball high and up. Runs the count 2-2. Again, 1 out in the inning. Fly ball by Owen Lane out to left field, caught by Schaefer. And the 2-2 pitch. High and up. 2 runs the count to full now on Warner. Warner gets on base. He is a threat to steal. He does have some speed. And there's a line shot into the gap over the right fielder's head. That'll bounce off of the fence. Warner rounded first, headed to second. Looks like he might hold up at second, and he does. So that's a That's a double for Jarris Warner. One hopper to the fence, and Huntingdon is in business here in the bottom of the first. That'll bring up third baseman Ryan Breckbill.
Now batting Huntingdon, number 4, Ryan Breckbill.
Warner gets his lead off at second base as Darlington assumes a stretch position. Just a look back at Breckbill, but a quick one, and it's in there for his first pitch. Hit back up to the second baseman, and Breckbill is he's out at first base. That was an awfully close play. Breckbill with a line shot over to Kynes, and it took him a bad hop. Kynes able to pick it up and throw him out on a very close play over at first base for the second out of the inning. With that, Warner is able to move up to third base.
Number 1, Alex Mikett.
That'll bring up to the plate cleanup hitter, first baseman Alex Mikett. And it's in there for a swinging strike. 0-1 to count on Mikett. Mikett playing first base tonight, as there's some folks that are missing off the Huntingdon roster. There's curveball inside, just misses off of the plate. Runs the count to 1-1 on Mikett. So 2 outs in the inning. Fly out for Owen Lane. And a ground out to second base for Ryan Breckbill. Sandwiched in between is a double. There's a hit right back up the middle off of the pitcher for Mikett, and that's going to be dead right behind the mound, and Mikett is going to reach on a single, and that is going to score Warner from third. So Mikett on a shot back up the middle, bounces off of the pitcher, kind of lays in dead man zone out there. So that's an RBI single for Alex Mikett. Arlington now leads 1-0. 2 outs in the inning, and that'll bring to the plate second baseman Nate Fleming. His coaches are out here checking out Darlington, seeing if he's all right. Catcher comes back to the plate. Telling the coaches, yep, I'm okay, I can continue. Probably get a couple warm-up pitches here just to make sure. Usually protocol for when a kid gets injured like that, specifically a pitcher, they'll give him a couple warm-ups, make sure he's all right to go. 2 or 3 tops, won't be much more than that. Looks like he's ready to go to warm-up pitches. Umpire tonight behind the plate, Tom Culp, says, yep, coach, he looks good, let's go.
Now batting for Huntingdon, number 24, Nate Fleming.
And that'll bring Nate Fleming, second baseman for Huntingdon. Mikett on first base by way of that RBI single just moments ago. And he fakes a steal off of first base, comes back, ball high on the batter, so 1-0 the count on Fleming. Catcher Breon calls time to go out to talk to Darlington, most likely figure out what they want to do with the base runner here. Breon comes back, and we're going to get set for action here again. 1-0 the count on Fleming. Alex Mikett on first. Moderate lead off of first, not a very strong one. Fleming gets the signs from Coach Peters, and the 1-0 pitch is stroked down the left field line, but foul. 1-1 the count now on Fleming. He steps back into the box. Darlington from the stretch gives a look over to Mikett. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and it's roped into left field for a single. So Fleming with the single, and that's a third hit for Huntingdon this evening. Still 2 outs. That'll bring to the plate catcher Alec Hess. Huntingdon with the lead with an RBI single by Alex Mikett, now followed up with a single to left field by Nate Fleming.
Now batting for Huntingdon, number 17, Alex Hess.
Outs on the board. Looks in, gets the sign. Delivery is a curveball in there for strike number 1. 0-1 delivery on the way, and that is roped down the left field line. Foul ball. 0-2 the count now on Fleming. Sorry on Hess. 0-2 the count on the catcher, Hess. Jonathan set to deliver. 0-2 pitch is lined right back up the middle. That's another base hit for Huntington. Mike's going to try and score from second base. He's lumbering in home, and he is going to make it, and it's going to be a 2-0 lead for Huntington as Alec Hess collects an RBI single. So 4 hits on the evening so far for Huntington. Warner leads or gets a double, followed by hits by Mikett, Fleming, and now Hess, and it is a 2-0 score for Huntington, and that will bring to the plate pitcher Jack Johnson. Looks like we're going to get a courtesy runner here as Phil Keller comes in to run for the catcher, Alec Hess. Hess will return to the dugout. And we are getting set to get underway as Arlington gets into stretch position. 2 outs in the inning. 2-0 your score for Huntington. The way Johnson was pitching in the first inning, these 2 runs might be all that he needs. There's a delivery. Scoots behind the catcher. Catcher turns up and makes a throw down to third, but he will not be able to catch Fleming on that as Fleming advances to third base by way of a pass ball on the catcher, and Hess will move up to second. And there's a lot of foul territory here in Huntington, specifically behind the plate. So a ball scoots away from the catcher, gives base runners a lot of opportunities to be able to move up here, that's for sure. Catcher's really got to be on his guard. There's the 1-0 delivery in there for a strike against Johnson. Count runs to 1-1. So runners again in scoring position. Hess at second. Fleming over at third for the pitcher Jack Johnson now at the plate. Johnson striking out the side last inning. We'll see if he can help his cause here and do a little bit more damage. Arlington's pitch on the way. Johnson bouncer over to shortstop. Shortstop backs up, makes a long throw over to first base, and is able to record the out. So that'll end the inning. Damage was done, though, as Huntington gets 2 runs on 4 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. So at the end of 1 inning of play, Huntington 2, Penns Valley 0. Back to you, Greg.
Hey, Frank, some of us are going out for lunch. Want to join?
No, thanks. I won't be able to make it for a while. My son's heading to a 4-year university this fall, and I'm watching every penny I can to help him with tuition.
Yeah, that can be so expensive. My daughter decided to go to Pennsylvania Highlands Community College. She'll earn her associate degree in 2 years before transferring to earn her bachelor's. I'll be able to save thousands by her attending Penn Highlands first.
Pennsylvania Highlands, really? My son is stuck on attending a 4-year university right away, far from home.
My daughter was the same until I explained to her that she'd end up with the same degree and far less debt. I don't want to see her starting out her adult life with a lot of debt. Penn Highlands just made the most sense. So, enjoy lunch.
Hey, wait for me.
I thought you couldn't afford to eat out.
That was before you mentioned Penn Highlands. How do I find out how to get my son enrolled?
I'll fill you in over lunch, but start by visiting Pennsylvania Highlands online at pennhighlands.edu.
You're listening to Area 5 Teen League Baseball action. Huntington taking on Penns Valley live from Huntingdon tonight. Chad States has all the action. Back to the field and Chad States. Chad?
Thanks, Greg. And another good solid inning there for Huntington as they collect 2 runs on 4 hits. And just what they needed, specifically with the way Jack is dealing here. Jack is a hard-throwing right-hander with a great curveball. So he's got that curveball working and to really offset that fastball that he has. And Penns Valley might have a tough time tonight, striking out the first 3 batters that he saw. So we'll see what happens with the rest of the Penns Valley lineup. They will send up to the plate Thomas Coffin, the third baseman, pitcher Jesse Garlington, and then right fielder Calvin Russell will be the 1-2-3 in this inning. So again, Jack Johnson, the ace of the staff on the hill for Huntington this evening, trying to get them to a 3-2 record. And we'll see where that pushes them. Their round-robin tournament will end here midweek, and then they will be pushed towards the what they call the championship brackets or whatever, their kind of playoff system that they'll run on most likely Saturday and Sunday of this week. The first set of games, I think, is at the second-place teams host, and then the second set of games Sunday will be at the top seed. I think right now Bellefonte is the top seed. 15-16s, having previously defeated Huntingdon 3-2 in the very first game of the tourney. Leading off will be Thomas Kaufman, third baseman. Johnson's set to go here. It's into the windup. Umpire Tom Culp says, "Let's go," and he does. And there's a high fastball over the top of Hess off the backstop and rolls back to him. Again, it's a big foul territory behind the catcher. Lots of room for him to be able to make a catch if need be, but also lots of room for base runners to move up and the ball get behind him. 0-1 delivery from Johnson is outside. Ball number 2. See if Johnson comes back with a curveball here at 2-0. He was pretty good at getting the batters started with strikes last inning. Now behind the count 2-0 to Kaufman. Inside 3-0 now the count. Hoffman will be looking to take care on this pitch as Johnson really has not been anywhere near the plate on this batter at all. And untypical from the control that he showed in the very first inning. 3-0 pitch on the way. Inside. That'll walk him. I'll put the first Penns Valley runner on base. And next up will be pitcher Jesse Darlington. So Johnson will need to settle down after that at bat. 4 pitches, 4 balls. Something we did not see as he started out each one of the first batters last inning with a strike. Always like to work ahead if you're a pitcher. Pitches upstairs. Alec Hess snaps down to first base just to check Kaufman, but ball number 1 on Darlington. Johnson throws over to first base to keep Kaufman in check. He works fast from the stretch position just as much as he does from the windup. So it's not going to give base runners very much chance to get off of there. 1-0 pitch. Brushes Darlington back off the plate a little bit, high up around the chin. So not quite sure where the control's gone here after 1 inning, but Johnson's going to need to find that as he does not want to start walking people. 2-0 your count on Darlington. There's a strike on the outside corner. Hess again snaps the ball down to first baseman Mikett. Hoffman gets back easily. 2-1 to count now on the pitcher Darlington. 2-1 pitch on the way. Fouled back. 2-2. Kaufman gets his lead off the first. Johnson from the stretch position delivers home. Upstairs. That was a high inside pitch that Darlington just couldn't lay off of. That would have been ball 3, but instead he fouls it down the left field line. So count is still 2-2. Not sure really why he chased that ball. That was really high and in. Johnson can thank him for fouling that pitch off. 2-2 delivery on the way. Outside. Alec Hess tried to frame that back in, but unable to. Now the count's 3-2. As Johnson is struggling a bit right now in the top of the second inning. 2-0 your score, Huntingdon. Kaufman leading off first. There is the 2-2 pitch over the top of Breckville at third base and into left field for a single for pitcher Jesse Darlington. So now we have 2-1. No outs for Penns Valley here in the top of the second. I'll bring to the plate right fielder Calvin Russell. See if we're going to get a courtesy runner here for the pitcher, and we are. That will be Hunter Zimmerman coming in to courtesy run for the pitcher Jesse Darlington. Those of you who don't know, anytime a pitcher or a catcher reaches the base, you are allowed to courtesy run. Thing is, you have to courtesy run with the same runner for that person every single time. Once they go into the field, they no longer become eligible to become a courtesy runner. So the home plate umpire and the scorekeepers all have to keep that in mind. We are pretty confident that tonight's home plate umpire can keep that in mind. There's a delivery by Johnson, low and inside for ball number 1 on Russell. Again, runners on first and second here, a walk to Kaufman, and a single into left field by Darlington. And we've got 2 on with no out here in the top of the second for Penns Valley. There's the 1-0 pitch, fouled back by Russell. Now it goes to 1-1. Johnson wants another ball. His pitcher Hess throws one out to him, and he says, hey, I want to get another new one. Need a little bit of a better grip here. Johnson set from the stretch position. Back at second base. Gets a sign from Hess. A quick turn over to first base, but like it playing off of the bag, so no threat to throw over there. 1-1 your count on Calvin Russell. No outs. There is the 1-1 delivery. Hess plenty of room to make this catch behind the plate. He will. Foul strike out as catcher Hess makes the first out of the inning, and the runners will not advance on that. So 1 out now. Runner still on first and second, and that'll bring to the plate catcher Cole Breon. Breon, a left-hander. I'd like to think that any type of base hit out into right field is going to be able to score Kaufman from second base. Pitch is on the way, and it is fouled back. 0-1 your count now on Breon. 1 out. 2 men on for Penns Valley. 2-0 your score in favor of Huntingdon. Johnson back to the stretch, getting the sign from Hess. 0-1 pitch on the way. Fastball up the middle, right back up the middle. Base hit, and Kaufman will stop at third. So now we're going to have bases loaded with 1 out as they respect the arm of Owen Lane out in center field. And stop Kaufman at third. So Kaufman over at third base, Darlington at second, Breon on first, based off of a base hit there back up the middle, and that'll bring up first baseman Matt Tobias. So bases loaded situation here for Penns Valley. 1 out. Jack Johnson in a bit of a jam. We'll see if he can get out of this here. Infield playing back for Huntingdon. Corners up. So infield a double play depth. Pitch is fouled back for strike number 1. Corners are up because their first play will be at home. This is a home first situation here as the ball's hit down to Breckville or over to Mike if they're going to go home with the ball. And then catcher Hess is going to have to deliver back to first. 0-1 delivery on the way from Johnson. That ball is skied out to left field. Should be a catch and an out for Werner, and it is. As Kaufman tags and scores. See what the call is over here at third base. All right, so what we have is a fly out to Kaufman in left field. Kaufman scores. Tobias from left field. Kaufman scores on the play. But Darlington tries to stretch it over to third and gets thrown out for the third out of the inning. So we are going to be out of the inning with 1 run for Penns Valley as Tobias is going to get an RBI single, and that's going to end it. So your score at the end of 1.5 is Penns Valley 1 and Huntingdon 2. Greg, back to you.
All right, thank you, Chad States, live tonight from Huntingdon Teener League Field. Area 5 Teener League action, 15, 16-year-olds, brought to you by Stone Town Gallery Cafe and Wine Bar, the place for all-day breakfast and a fabulous lunch. Artistic atmosphere in downtown Huntingdon at 511 Washington Street. You can also enjoy dinner and music Friday nights on the patio and courtyard, so stop in at their wine bar, hosted by Happy Valley Winery and Vineyards. Stonetown Gallery Cafe and Wine Bar, open Tuesday through Sunday, closed Mondays. Like them on Facebook. Also, tonight's game brought to you by Prayer Mountain Monuments on 4th Street, Huntingdon, specializing in laser etching of memorial headstones. Their pre-planning consultations are free of charge, and you can select from a variety of monument styles. Prayer Mountain Monuments open Monday through Fridays through Thursdays from 9 to 4, Fridays from 9 to 3, evenings and weekends by appointment. Call Dave McKinney, Prayer Mountain Monuments, 669-1316 for more information on a lasting memorial. Meanwhile, Chad State's hanging out with area Teener League action tonight. Of course, we brought you the 13, 14-year-olds on Sunday. Tonight, it's the 15, 16-year-olds. And, Chad, hopefully these guys can go far. I think the state tournament for the 15, 16s, is that in Mount Union this year?
I think the state tournament for the 15s and 16s is in Mount Union this year. I'm getting a shaking of the head from Huntingdon League President Greg Leonard that that is where they are at.
Fantastic.
We're going to have change. It's like we're going to have some changes here for Penns Valley as they are making a pitching change as sorry about that, folks. We have to try and get our changes. Gillespie will now come to the mound. Darlington has exited the game. I'm not sure he was injured off of that play last inning. He took one off of the hip, a single up the middle from Alex Mikett. Was able to take his at bat, but now has exited the game, and that will push Nate Gillespie over to pitch for Penns Valley. So a little bit of a change up there in the second inning. So we're here now in the bottom of the second. Shortstop Aiden Walters ready to lead it off for Huntington. And he will face a brand new pitcher in Nate Gillespie. All right, set to go underway here. Bottom of the second inning. Gillespie's pitch. Low for ball number 1 on Walters. So Penns Valley able to answer back with 1 run there in the top of the second inning. Had a bases loaded, 1 out. Strike number 1 on the batter for Walters. Bases loaded, 1 out. And a fly ball, sacrifice fly to center field or to left field. For the second out, they throw the ball home, and then the catcher Alec Hess is able to throw out runner Darlington at third base. And I'm wondering if that's where the injury might have been aggravated or occurred, or if there was one at all. But starting pitcher definitely out of this game for Penns Valley at this point in time. 2-1 to batter on. 2-1 to count on Walters. Now 3-1 to count on Walters from Gillespie. So Zimmerman entering the game, and he will be playing shortstop. And that pitch is inside, and Walters will walk on 5 pitches and give Huntington another base runner to start the game here, or the inning. Next up will be left-hander John Basom. Basom playing right field.
Now batting number 11, John Basom.
Basom has some power. He is a good hitter. Mild lead for Walters over at first. Inside, ball 1. Walters caught up between first and second here as the catcher throws down to second base, and they got Walters tied up in a rundown here in between first and second. Walters just keeps going back and forth here in the middle with nobody really closing the gap on him at all. Not really running him down. Now he gets run down, and he is going to be tagged out by Gillespie in between. So not quite sure what happened there, if he was supposed to run or not, but he was going to get recorded with the first out as he gets caught off of the bag. And now there is 1 out for Huntington. So take away the walk, erase the base runner, go to 1 out. 1 ball, no strikes on Basom. No delivery fouled off. Must be in a windup. 1-1 delivery on the way. Ball is hit sharply to second baseman Kynes. Kynes over to Tobias for out number 2 of the inning. Two outs now for Huntington, and I'll bring up the extra hitter. Huntington will bat 10 in their lineup. That is Hunter Woomer. It's the last batter in Huntington's lineup. Lesty's pitch is popped up and is caught by the first baseman, Tobias, for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down for Huntington in the bottom of the second, and the score will still remain 2-1 in favor of Huntington. Greg, back to you.
If you're searching for a used vehicle, or perhaps a used boat for a leisurely trip on the lake, find them today online at penswoods.net. From things for sale or things to buy, the free classifieds at penswoods.net have it all. From houses for sale, apartments for rent, or even things to trade. penswoods.net is the region's largest site for free classifieds. Check it out today and make money or save money at penswoods.net.
I'm coming home. What does sacrifice mean to you? Is it giving up your time and energy to keep America safe? Is it putting yourself in harm's way to protect our nation's way of life? No? Then maybe it's giving up that third latte to take care of the heroes that do.
The VFW makes it easy to help. Just call 1-855-9-HELP-VET. That's 855-9-HELP-VET.
The VFW. No one does more for veterans.
This message brought to you by the Huntingdon VFW Post 1754 on Penn Street. That's what it's all about tonight. VFW Teener League action in Huntingdon, live from the Huntingdon field. Chat State's bringing you all the action of the 15-16-year-olds as Huntingdon leads Penns Valley tonight. Chad, if you get a chance to talk with the president, be my guest.
Yeah, we'll try and get the president on the radio here before.
All right.
We'll give him some time to think about that as I look over my left shoulder and he gives me a big smile. So kind of putting him on the spot, but we'll see if we can make that happen in between one of these innings.
All right.
So Huntington with a 2-1 lead here in the top of the third inning. Jack Johnson still on the mound for Huntington. Penns Valley able to collect that run on a sacrifice fly by Matt Tobias last inning. And leading off for Penns Valley will be the center fielder and the last batter in the lineup, Jacob Daniels. So it'll be Daniels, Kynes, Gillespie here in the top of the third inning. Johnson gets some good luck wishes out here in the mound from the infield, and we are just about ready to go in inning number 3. Signs given to Daniels. He steps into the batter's box, and we are set. Pitch is on the way. Fastball low. And Johnson with impeccable control in inning number 1, and not really so much in inning number 2. So we're going to see how he rebounds here. There's a fastball fouled back and away, runs the count to 1-1. That one was right down Broadway, so that's what you kind of like to see. Again, it's kind of strange that you spend all your time coaching these kids up to pitch strikes, pitch strikes, pitch strikes. Only get to the major league level and you're coaching them, hey, don't throw strikes. 1-1 delivery is a curveball strike for Johnson. Count 1 and 2. So baseball is just one of those weird games where in the major leagues you want to keep that ball out of the strike zone and not throw it down the middle. Here, you want to. There's a curveball that did not break like Johnson wanted to, and Daniels is going to reach base by being hit by the pitch. And Penns Valley has the leadoff runner on first.
Now batting Penns Valley, number 2,
Jared Kynes now will come to the plate. First inning victim of a strikeout looking against Johnson. Daniels with the lead over at first. Johnson delivers outside and high. That's a pop up and give a look down to first, but not make a throw. Want to know your count now on Kynes. Johnson throws over to first baseman now, like it. Daniels easily back in under the tag, although I'm not sure that Mike really even caught the ball. Kind of rolled around his feet there a little bit. Fastball strike for Johnson, runs the count to 1-1. And a nice evening down here. Sun has kind of set behind a cloud, so it's not glaring out here on the kids. Not a real high humidity day, so good evening to be playing. 1-1 delivery on the way, fouled back, 1-2. Again, throwing strikes is the key for these guys. Johnson able to do that in the first inning. 3 up and 3 down on 3 strikeouts. Kind of lost a little bit of control in the second inning as Penns Valley is able to scrape back and get 1 run. And now they have a runner on first and looking for more here as the 1-2 delivery is lined out to center field. There is Owen Lane on the horse. It's a 1-hopper to the fence. And we've got a double by Jared Kynes. And it looks like Daniels is going to score all the way from first. So we have an RBI double all the way to the center field fence by Kynes, and we have this ball game all tied up at 2 apiece. I'll bring to the plate pitcher Nate Gillespie. Gillespie struck out in the first inning. He's 0-1 on the afternoon. Kynes a base runner over at second by virtue of that RBI double just seconds ago. Johnson steps off the back of the rubber, gives Kynes a little bit of a look. Now gets set from the stretch position, gets a sign from Hess, delivers back. It's a bunt back to Johnson, who will take a look at third, make the play over to first, and he throws it by Alex Mike, who can't handle it. That ball's going to roll to the fence. And Kynes is going to score, and Gillespie is going to be all the way over to third base on the error. So we've got an error on the play. That's going to score another run for Penns Valley, and Gillespie is going to reach third by virtue of the ball going all the way to the fence. And Penns Valley is now out to a 3-2 lead with no outs here in the top of the third. So whatever advantage Huntingdon did have defensively on the mound has been solved or eroded away here, and Penns Valley now out to a 3-2 lead, and that's going to bring up left fielder Cam Schaefer, who is 0-1 with a strikeout. Ball number 1, ball high from Johnson. No outs. Gillespie, the pitcher, now on third base as Penns Valley looks to expand their lead. 3-2. Strike on the outside corner, fastball by Johnson, evens the count up at 1-1. So what was appeared to be a sacrifice bunt to move Kynes over to third ended up being a 3-base error and a run scored by Kynes. And I'm sure that manager Dennis Johnson from Huntingdon is a little distraught with that turn of events as 1-1 pitch is high and inside for ball number 2, 2-1 to count. Curveball inside strike for Johnson. Batter kind of looks away in disgust, but I will say this. The umpire has been consistent with that call. Which is all you can ask out of an umpire is to be consistent with his calls, and he has been consistent with that call all game long. 2-2 pitch on the way, and it's outside. 3-2 the count now. This is a big pitch now for Johnson. He doesn't want to put another guy on base and load and have runners on first and third with nobody out. It's usually a base stealing situation if that's the case. So got to get an out here somewhere. 3-2 pitch on the way and strike 3. So Schaefer will K for the second time. That'll be the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Thomas Kaufman, the third baseman, who walked to begin the second inning. Also scored on the sacrifice fly by Matt Tobias. Kaufman to the plate, 1 out. Runner on third for Penns Valley. Johnson going from the windup. Steps back off the mound. Gets dry off his hand. Going from the windup. Steps back again. So Johnson not seeing something he likes or not feeling something that he likes, and he gets set again on the mound and see if he delivers the pitch this time. Now he's in his motion. Curveball strike. Number 1. Again, that first pitch strike is very, very crucial for a pitcher. It's all you always want to try and get ahead of the batter, make him think what you're going to bring as opposed to having him sit on what he wants you to bring. 0-1 delivery by Johnson. Outside strike number 2. 0-2 the count. And this would be a huge strikeout for Johnson to try to get out of this inning. Pitch on the way, and he curveball that just kind of left his fingers goes way over the head of Hess, and that will allow Gillespie to score from third. Well, that's a wild pitch by Johnson. That'll bring home the 4th run for Penns Valley, and we are at 4-2, top of the 3rd inning. So Huntingdon struggling here in back-to-back innings after a first inning 1-2-3, striking out the side by Johnson. The next 2 innings have been a little bit less unkind for the 15-16 All-Star team. Johnson's curveball pitch is up. 2-2 the count now on Kaufman. Nobody on. 1 out. Johnson's 2-2 delivery. Down the middle, strike number 3, swinging strike number 3. Johnson records his 5th strikeout of the day, and that will bring up shortstop Hunter Zimmerman. Zimmerman, a replacement for the pitcher Jesse Darlington this inning, playing shortstop. Which is outside for ball number 1. Zimmerman originally entered in as a courtesy runner for the catcher Breon, but then ended up coming back into the lineup as Darlington was pulled. And he hits the ball sharply off to shortstop Walters, who can't handle it, makes a quick throw over to Mike, but he is safe at first base. So another error, this time on shortstop Walters. And Huntingdon should be out of the inning. They are not. 2 outs now. Zimmerman on first base, and that'll bring to the plate right fielder Calvin Russell. Russell flew out to the catcher in the 2nd inning. Zimmerman takes his lead. Delivery by Johnson in there for a strike. Johnson in the stretch position. Zimmerman gets his lead off at first. Not a big one, but Johnson will check him over at first. Not quite sure why he's going to throw over there. It's not a real huge lead by Zimmerman. It doesn't look like he's any real threat to run, specifically with 2 outs here. Just go after the batter. They pitch high, and Russell decides to chase that one high. Strike number 2. 0-2 the count on Russell. Two down in the inning. Johnson's 0-2 delivery on the way. Fouled back. The Penns Valley so far scoring 3 runs on just 1 hit. 2 errors in the inning have definitely contributed to this, and a wild pitch hit batsman, so everything that could go wrong has for Huntingdon here in the top of the 3rd. There is the 0-2 delivery, skied up to center field, and Owen Lane on the run and makes the catch in center field for the out. So Huntingdon gets out of this one now. Your score after 2.5 innings of play, Penns Valley 4 and Huntingdon 2. Greg, back to you.
All right, thank you, Chat States, live from the Huntingdon Teener League field tonight. Huntingdon, of course, having some errors that inning. We'll have more action for you coming up in just mere moments. Meanwhile, tonight's game brought to you by Rick Singleton Rentals at William Penn Highway, renting equipment for all your construction needs. From bulldozers, JLG lifts, to excavators and more, Rick Singleton Rentals has heavy equipment for your next project. Call them at 643-3993 for rates and details, and you can find Rick Singleton Rentals on Facebook. Also join Ike Taylor, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the Ike Taylor Show this fall exclusively on the Air Network. Ike Taylor, John Harris, and NFL insiders bring you insight to players, games, and information regarding the Steelers and the NFL every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock beginning in September. Get the whole story live this fall on the Ike Taylor Show, produced and live and direct on the Air Network. Watch our front page for more details. Also, first game of the season coming up, Chad. It'll be Mount Union versus Huntingdon. Bearcat football, Friday, August the 26th. I'm looking forward to that rivalry, as we do every year. Chad States will have all the information on that game, as well as he does tonight with Teen League Baseball. Chad?
Amazing that football is only near 6 weeks away from kicking off here. You're just in the middle of summer, and that's, don't think about it, but it sneaks up on you. I know today was sports physical day out at the high school, so
yeah.
It's starting. I mean, it's definitely upon us soon. That's for sure. And that first game is always a big one, but it's even bigger whenever it's your cross county rival. And the rivalry between Huntington and Mount Union is long and storied for sure. And this year should be no exception, as both teams want to get off to that early, quick start. And not be behind the eight ball right off the chute. So an important game for the Bearcats whenever we get the season started, but also an equally important game for Mount Union, who will be under the leadership of a new coach this year. As last year's coach decided that he was not coming back, and so Huntington or Mount Union will see new leadership at the head coach position. Not quite sure who it is, but we will find out as time goes on here. Now back to baseball action. Gillespie inning set here in the bottom of the third as Huntington will start with their leadoff batter, Owen Lane, center fielder, who just made the nice catch out in center field. So nice catch in the field, good bat here at the plate. We'll see if that translates. There's a high bouncer to the shortstop, over top of the shortstop Zimmerman's head, and Lane is on with a single. So just like that, you make a great play in the field, and you get on base to get things started, and that's the way it goes in this game sometimes. Lane is fast. Make no mistake about it that I would not be surprised to see Coach Peters turn him loose early here to try to get the Huntington offense going here. Ferris Warner with a double in the first inning. We'll see what happens here as signs are collected. Gillespie's pitch outside on Warner. Lane with a big lead down there at first base. Catcher Breon wanted to give a look down, but then gave a second thought. 1-0 delivery by Gillespie. Nope, he decides to check Lane over at first base. Lane dives back in easily, no tag applied. And we'll see. Same signs are given, and I got to believe that Lane is going to be on the run here very, very soon. Ball number 2 now for Werner. Must be in the stretch. Lane gets lead off first. Gillespie's 2-0 pitch on the way. Lane is taking off. Foul ball by Werner, so Lane will have to return, but Lane was running on the play. It's going to be really hard for any team to turn a double play against these two, as Werner also has some speed, and it's going to take a real quick infield to be able to pull off that double-double. He dives back into first as Gillespie checks him over there. 2-1 account on Warner. Warner again 1 for 1 with a run scored. He had a double in the first inning. And there is a pop up to the shortstop Zimmerman, who calls everybody off and records the out. So out number 1 of the inning. That'll bring up third baseman Ryan Breckbill. Breckbill grounded out to second base for the second out of the inning in the first. We'll see if Coach Peters turns Lane loose. Penns Valley obviously knows that Lane has speed as they have thrown over now for the fourth time to keep him in check over there. Lane with the lead off first. And the delivery by Gillespie. Lane running. Fly ball out into right field. Lane will check it up halfway, but the out is recorded. Now have to return back to first. So, second out of the inning for Huntington, and that'll bring up first baseman Alex Mikett. So Lane is trying to get to second base on the stolen base, but fly out to shortstop and a fly out to right field has prevented that. Mikett 1-for-1 on the game. He has an RBI single off the hip of pitcher Darlington back up the middle in the first inning, scoring Werner. Gillespie's pitch outside. There's Lane finally with a stolen base. He is in there easily at second. Lane had to work for that one. One-0 the count on the batter, Mikett. 4-2 your score in favor of Penns Valley. Gillespie's 1-0 delivery. Inside, ball number 2. Wow, Lane with a decent lead off of second base. Gillespie decides to turn around and throw it. But the second baseman really wasn't in position. He had to make a diving catch there before that ball went into center field. That could have been a bad move by Penns Valley as that sails out into center. Lane's easily at third, and he is rounding third and looking at home, depending on the arm of that center fielder. So that was a dangerous play there by Gillespie. I know he wants to keep the runner in check, but there's 2 out. So there's Lane on trying to steal third. Breon with a throw down to third base. It's behind the third baseman into the left field, but Lane slides easily into third. Second stolen base of the inning. So 2 outs. Lane on third base. Mikett at the plate. Lane slides in. There's a nice big dust ball that rolls through the field as we are in, those of us that know here in Huntingdon County, we're in desperate need of some rain. So it's pretty dusty when somebody slides out there. 2-0 pitch on the way outside for ball number 3. And Mikett fouls that pitch off. I believe that runs the count to 3-2. See what umpire Tom called. As yes, full count on the batter, Mikett here with 2 outs. Must be from the windup. 3-2 pitch on the way outside. Ball number 4. There's a 2-out walk issued by Gillespie to Mikett. That'll bring up second baseman Nate Fleming.
Now batting for Huntington, number 24.
Fleming 1-for-1 with a single back up the middle in the first inning. Another single here will help the Huntington scrape back into this as Lane would score easily. No real threat of a squeeze play or anything like that with 2 outs. So 2 outs, runners on the corner for Huntington. Nate Fleming at the plate. We'll see if outside for ball number 1. Pitch was pretty close. Umpire says not close enough. Mikett, small lead over at first. Lane down the foul line here at third. And Fleming skies one up to center field. Center field Daniels sets up underneath it and makes the catch for out number 3. So no runs in the inning for Huntington. 1 hit and 2 people left on base. So your score 3 complete innings of play. Penns Valley 4, Huntington 2. Greg, back to you.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save
your friend, your best friend, teacher, boss, coach.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T, face, arm, speech, time. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, a fellow shopper, a total stranger, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague, teammate, mother.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
And you're listening to Tomorrow's Radio. Today, of course, is High Tech, theairnetwork.net. Thanks for taking us along on your mobile device or wherever you might be tonight. Hey, we're even in cars these days, all over the world. Meanwhile, folks might be listening in Montana tonight to you, Chad, because they have an affiliation, we understand, with Huntingdon Teener League. As tonight, it's the 15, 16-year-olds, and we wish them the best of luck. Chad states with all the action live from the Huntingdon Teener League field, where many of us grew up playing on that field back in the day, Chad.
That's exactly right. And if you're listening to Montana, go Grizzlies. Got a heck of a Division I AA football team up there. So shout out to the Grizzlies of Montana if you're listening up there.
All right.
Yes, Greg, there's a number of us that grew up on this field, that's for sure. And then there's a number of us that not only grew up on this field, but decided to coach it and can't ever get away from this field. So.
Yeah, and how many years has it been for you coaching there?
It's year 17 for me, coaching the Moose with Roger Briggs. So,
all right.
Long time. Been a long time.
Hats
We're
off.
ready to start here at the top of the fourth inning. Catcher Cole Breon for Penns Valley. 1-for-1 on the evening with a single in the second. Pitch on the way from Johnson on the outside corner. Strike number 1. Breon, a lefty, handling the catching duties tonight. 0-1 delivery by Johnson. Curveball, swinging strike number 2. This is the Johnson that we saw in the first inning by being able to get ahead of batters and then being able to use that curveball to kind of fool them a little bit. He's working a little bit faster, too. There's strike number 3, so 3 strikes. And you're out, so to speak, as Johnson records his 6th strikeout of the evening on 3 straight pitches. Now, again, this is the way Johnson looked in the first inning by working fast from the wind-up position with impeccable control. So 3 pitches, 3 strikes on Cole Breon, and he is retired, and that'll bring up first baseman Matt Tobias. Tobias is an RBI sacrifice fly in the second inning, scoring the first Penns Valley run. And a first pitch strike there by Johnson as he's able to drop the curveball in on Tobias. Well, maybe he got some coaching in the dugout and said, hey, Jack, work a little bit faster. 0-1 pitch on the way, swinging strike and a miss by Tobias. So 5 pitches so far here in the inning for Johnson and 5 strikes. 0-2 the count now on the first baseman. 0-2 delivery on the way, and that is one of those curveballs that just doesn't break. As Alec Hess has to stand up and catch out above the head of Tobias. 1-2 the count. Seen that a couple times out of the Johnson, where the curveball just kind of gets away from him and is either headed towards the batter or over the top of him. And that pitch is low. Ball number 2. 2-2 the count now on Tobias. Again, 4-2 lead by Penns Valley here in the top of the 4th. And Johnson getting a little frustrated now as he's ran the count full. And Tobias fouls that pitch away. Count still remains at 3-2. So the only changes so far in the game really are attributed to Penns Valley, as pitcher Jesse Darlington had to exit the game, most likely due to an injury. We're not sure exactly what that is, but a play at third base and then a base hit off of his hip by Alex Mikett probably ran him out of the game. And they are and to put in the shortstop Nate Gillespie in to pitch. There's a pitch fouled away by Tobias. Count still remains at 3-2, 1 out here in the top of the fourth. Huntingdon has made no changes so far in their lineup. They really have a short bench tonight, as they only have one player available to them, and that would be Philip Keller. So Huntingdon is going to make some changes. It's going to be limited, greatly limited. Count pitch on the way, fouled back again. Tobias hangs strong here. Johnson gets another ball, takes a look. And he gets set from the windup position. 4-2 your score, Penns Valley. Full count pitch on the way. Tobias again with another foul ball strike. So Tobias hanging strong. This is a good at bat by him. Jack Johnson's pitch count up a little bit. If you're a coach, you like to see this out of some of your kids. This is a good solid at bat by Tobias as he keeps battling here. Pitch on the way, low and inside. So Tobias able to work his way into a walk and get down to first base. Second walk issued by Johnson on the evening. He also has a hit batsman, and that's going to bring to the plate center fielder Jacob Daniels.
Now batting number 8, Jacob
Daniels. 0-0 on the day as he was the victim of that hit by pitch in the third inning. Also scored a run, part of the 3 that Penns Valley scored in the third. Lies with the lead over at first base, and Johnson decides to check him twice over there. Johnson's pitch on the outside corner for strike number 1. 1 out, man on first for Penns Valley. And there's a shot out to the center fielder Lane, who comes in and makes a sliding catch for the second out of the inning. So an outstanding catch by Owen Lane as that ball was hit on a line shot out to him and diving down in, and he makes a sliding catch for out number 2. It's going to bring to the plate leadoff hitter Jared Kynes. Kynes with an RBI single in the third and struck out in the first.
Now batting Penns Valley number 2, Jared Kynes.
Kynes a left-hander. Tobias on first by virtue of the walk. 2 outs in the inning. Johnson throws over to check Tobias at first again. Sure he's not going anywhere. Not really a big, strong move, but move nonetheless just to keep him in check. Comes Johnson's pitch on the outside corner, strike number 1. One to count on Kynes. Kynes with a swinging strike number 2. Hess decides to chuck it down to first base. Keep Tobias in check. Tobias back easily. 2 your count on Kynes. Johnson with 6 strikeouts on the evening. Strikeout number 7, but again trails in this game 4-2. An outside curveball that Kynes decides to chase and wave at, and he will strike out to end the inning. So no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left for Penns Valley in the top of the 4th, and the score remains 4-2. Penns Valley. Back to you, Greg.
Thank you, Chad States, live from Huntingdon Teener League Field. It's Area 5, 15, 16-year-olds playing tonight, Huntingdon and Penns Valley. Tonight's game brought to you by Sam's Garage at 214 Washington Street, Huntingdon. They've been owned and operated for 37 years, recently purchased by Todd Wilson back in 2014 with excellent service. Stop by Sam's Garage for state inspections, major or minor vehicle repairs, and all brands of tires and accessories. Sam's Garage open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, with appointments on Saturdays and Sundays. Cloud Minders in downtown Huntingdon bringing you tonight's celebration at 519 Washington Street. They are your celebration station for all your party needs, from balloons, party gear, and so much more. Cloud Minders, making your party planning much easier. Stop by Cloud Minders, say hi to Carol and the gang, 10 to 6 Monday to Friday and 9 to 5 on Saturdays. Closed Sundays and the holidays. Cloud Minders at 643-5121. Well, sounds like Johnson's throwing some heat like the first inning, Chad, but still, Huntingdon trailing Penns Valley 4-2 in that Area 5 game tonight. Now, back to Chad States.
Yeah, that's true. Johnson's been pretty effective. That was his seventh strikeout of the evening, but trailing 4-2 due to that kind of a bad third inning. You know, every team, I guess, has one. Hopefully that was Huntington's one for the game and are able to claw back into this one, but they do trail 4-2. You're going to send to the plate this inning Alec Hess, Jack Johnson, and third baseman Aiden Walters will be your 1, 2, 3 batters here to start the bottom of the fourth. Nate Gillespie on the mound for Penns Valley. Going to get some encouragement from his infield as we get ready to go here in Huntington's bottom of the fourth. And here in Interleague Baseball, they will play 7 innings. Little League, they play 6. Interleague, most high school games, they play 7. In the majors, they play 9. Pitch underway here. Gillespie's pitch outside for ball number 1 against Hess. Hess 1-1 for the day with an RBI single in the first. And a pitch is inside for ball number 2. Huntington needs to get some base runners on here and start to claw back into this. Still plenty of time. Inside pitch again. Nope. Higher. Going to call that one an inside strike. 2-1 now the count. 2-1 pitch is inside for ball 3. Oh, Hess can sit back and look for his pitch here. Pitch on the way. Fastball inside corner. Strike number 2. Hess shakes his head a little bit, but again, the umpire has been consistent with that call all game long, so it's not come to a surprise to these batters. He's 3-2 pitch on the way, and Hess lines it down the third base line. He's going to try to... Nope, he will be held at first with a single. So a leadoff single by Alec Hess here in the 4th inning. He'll go 2 for 2 on the game. I'll bring up pitcher Jack Johnson.
Number 13, Jack Johnson.
Johnson grounding out to short to end the 1st inning. Time by home plate umpire called as Johnson takes an extra swing and gets set and ready to go here. There's a bunt down the third baseline by Johnson, and it's a good bunt. And the third baseman, Kaufman, is going to be unable to field it, and it's going to squirt out of bounds, but we're into foul territory. But Johnson's going to be safe down at first base. And being the scoreman that I am, I'm going to award him a single on that because I believe that no matter what Kaufman would have did with it, he'd have been safe anyway. So the base hit, bunt single by Jack Johnson, and will advance Hess up to second, and Huntington is in business here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Runners on first and second, and that'll bring up third baseman Aiden Walters. Walters is going to bunt right back to the pitcher Gillespie. Gillespie turns and throws over to third baseman Kaufman, who makes a throw over to third base, but Kaufman, the third baseman, drops the ball, which means Hess is going to be safe. And we are going to have a bases loaded situation here for right fielder Jonathan Basem. It's Penns Valley's first error of the game. A ball that Kaufman should have easily handled as Gillespie was able to field that cleanly, make the throw over, and try to get Hess out, but Kaufman just dropped the ball, and now we have bases loaded. Basem at the plate. Gillespie's delivery is in the dirt for ball number 1. So Gillespie in all kinds of trouble here. in the bottom of the fourth inning. 1-0 your count, bases loaded. Gillespie sets, he deals, and Basin with a single out into right field, and that scores Hess. And Johnson will be held up at third base, so that's an RBI single for Jonathan Basin. And that'll bring up extra hitter Hunter Woomer. Woomer flew out to the first baseman on the first pitch that he saw in the second inning. Bases are still loaded. Nobody out here. Bottom of the fourth. Curveball high and up. Want to know the count on Woomer. And Woomer with a bunt attempt, but gets fouled off. He's going to be called down the line here to have a little chat with Coach Peters. So Woomer trying to get a bunt down and unable to as it is fouled back. Bill Peters with some words of encouragement. Hunter will return back to the plate, and we are 1-1 with nobody out here. Bottom of the fourth, bases loaded for Huntingdon. Must be in a wind-up, and he deals, and Woomer fouls off for strike number 2. Woomer, one of those all-purpose players during the regular season, as he pitched, he caught, he played third, short, right field, center field, left field. You name it, he could play it. One of those kids that's kind of invaluable to a team during the regular season. And there's the 1-2 pitch, fouled away again by Woomer. It's one of those kids that whatever you ask him to do, he does and he can do. So kids like that are few and far between and very valuable to any team that they're on. 1-2 the count now. Base is jammed for the 10th batter, Woomer. The on-deck circle is center fielder Owen Lane. Time called by home plate umpire Tom Culp. And we're set. Gillespie's pitch in the dirt for ball number 2. To the count now. And nobody out here. Bottom of the fourth inning, 4-3 the score. Base is still loaded for Huntingdon. Big inning potential set up for him. 2-2 pitch. In there for called strike number 3. Drops a curveball in. And that is the first out of the inning. That'll bring up center fielder Owen Lane. Lane 1 for 2. Lane 1 for 2 in the evening with 2 stolen bases. And there's a shot down the third baseline. Kaufman picks it up, and he is indecisive in what to do with the baseball. Fields it cleanly, but has no idea where to throw it. Chooses to throw it late to first base, which was the wrong choice. So Lane is going to be on board with a single. As it was fielded cleanly, but we've got to give the single to him and an RBI, and the score is tied at 4 apiece. So we are now tied. 4 runs apiece here. Manager comes out and has a little chat with the third baseman as he is visibly frustrated out there. That is something you usually don't see, is the kid not knowing where to throw the ball. And Kaufman come up cleanly with the ball, but had no idea what to do with it. And that is able to score Jack Johnson from third, and we still have the bases loaded here in the 4th inning. That'll bring Jarris Warner to the plate. Warner 1 for 2 with a double in the first, and they fly out to the shortstop in the third. Catcher for Penns Valley being checked out here by the managers. And so 4-4 your score. Warner will step in against Gillespie. Gillespie's first pitch outside, as Breon has to drop to his knees to prevent that from going to the backstop. Waters on third base, Basil on second, and Owen Lane on first. Bases loaded. Gillespie's pitch is in there. That is a bunt down the first base line. There is nobody covering first base, so the first base field's at about a quarter of the way down the line. He has nobody to throw it to, as nobody is covering, and another run is scored, and another mental error that time for Penns Valley, as you have to award the single on that one. That's an RBI single for Jarris Warner. As the second baseman fails to come over to cover the bag, and Huntingdon is out to a 5-4 lead now. Scoring 3 runs here in the bottom of the fourth with 1 away, and we still had the bases loaded. Ryan Breckville at the plate takes the first pitch for a ball. Want to know the count. Stop Ryan Breckville up. Breckville 0-2 for the day. Ground out to the second baseman and a fly out to right field. But any type of damage that he can do here for Huntingdon is going to really help Johnson's cause on the mound. There's a called strike on the outside corner for Gillespie, 1-1. Breckville, a solid hitter during the regular season. See if he can bust into one here. 1-1 delivery on the way, and there is a deep fly ball to left field, and that ball is off of the sign in left field. 1 run is in, 2 runs are in, and Huntingdon is now out to a 7-4 lead with a 2 RBI double by Ryan Breckville. Warner is held up at third, but 2-run score on the RBI double by Ryan Breckville. So Huntingdon getting the big inning that they needed by virtue of some mental errors that translate into singles for Huntingdon, but mental errors by Penns Valley. And we have runners on second and third, and Alex Mikett at the plate now for Huntingdon. Mikett is 1-1 on the inning with an RBI single off of the pitcher in the first and a walk in the third inning. 7-4 your score now. 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. Mikett with a foul strike. 0-2 now the count on him. Huntingdon is now pushed across 5 runs here in the fourth inning. Gillespie's 0-2 delivery outside. Not really giving Mikett anything to hit there. I don't think he really wants to live on the outside here with Mikett at the plate. I don't think he wants Mikett to extend those arms. So see where this next pitch comes, but I don't think he wants to put this one on the outside or he could be in some real trouble. 2 men on, 1 out. Mikett on an inside pitch. He turns on it, flies it out to left fielder. Warner comes back to third base. He tags and decides not to end up going home on the throw. So it is just a fly out to the left fielder for Alex Mikett. 2 outs now in the fourth inning. That'll bring to the plate second baseman Nate Fleming. Fleming 1 for 2 on the evening. Single in the first. A good opportunity here for him to kind of bust this open. 7-4 your score in favor of Huntingdon. Gillespie's pitch on the way to Fleming on the outside corner for strike number 1. Ball just misses. Fleming skies one to the right fielder. Russell sits up underneath it and catches it for out number 3. So the damage is done for Huntingdon as they collect 6 runs on 6 hits. Leave 2 on, but after 4 complete innings of play, Huntingdon now out to a 7-4 lead. Greg, back to you.
Today, my new dad threw a barbecue.
Today, my new son and I threw a barbecue.
There were burgers and chicken.
I burnt everything. The burgers, the chicken, The salad.
They were delicious.
They were awful.
And then we had watermelon.
I'm allergic to watermelon.
And then we played catch.
I broke Mr. Lewis's window, Mrs. Wakeham's window, Mrs. Wakeham's windshield, and then somehow my hand. My hand!
And then my dad even let me drive his car.
The hospital's on the right! It was a rough day.
It was a great day.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It's the AirNetwork.net live action tonight from Huntingdon, Pennsylvania. It's Area 5 Teener League action for the 15 and 16-year-olds as Huntingdon now leads Penns Valley tonight. Chat State's reminiscent of the old days when I listened to my transistor radio, by the way, and listened to those pirate games long time ago. Hey, but you're sounding great. Keep up the good work, man.
Hey, we're trying, having a lot of fun down here, that's for sure.
All right.
Always good to be able to get out here and promote the kids of the community, and that's what we try to do, Greg. And that's why we're looking for your sponsorship during the high school season as we try to broadcast everything Bearcats this year and get them on the radio. Again, all for the kids, but help us out and become a sponsor on the AirNetwork.net, and let's get those Bearcats on the radio.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Let's do it.
Top of the fifth, Huntington out to a 7-4 lead. Gillespie, Schaefer, and Kaufman coming up for Penns Valley. Gillespie, the pitcher, not having a good inning in the last inning as he gives up 5 runs. We'll see if he's able to get things started here for the Penns Valley offense. First pitch on the way, fastball strike for Jack Johnson. So, again, Johnson working out in front of the batters. What you definitely want to do. Johnson 7 strikeouts on the evening. Curveball just misses on the inside corner. 1-1 to count. Curveball's been effective for Johnson when it's been in there, but he's had some problems with control with it too. And there's a fastball on the outside. It skips away from Hess. Should be considered basically a wild pitch. But that's where Johnson's kind of got himself in trouble for. 2/3 of his pitches are great down the middle strikes, but a couple of those ones are above the head or behind the batter, hitting the batter way outside, and those are the ones you got to be careful about. But that one's bearing down the middle fastball. Strike number 2, 2-2 the bat, 2-2 now the count on Gillespie, the pitcher. Johnson working from the windup, working fast, 2-2 pitch on the way. Line shot over top of the shortstop Reckville and into left field for a single. So Gillespie collecting his first hit on the night, and that'll bring up left fielder Cam Schaefer. Schaefer struck out in the first inning and struck out in the third inning. So we'll see if he's able to resurrect himself here, so to speak. Must be on first base with a single. Jonathan checks him. Goes over to first baseman Mikett. And Jonathan decides to check him again. Just not a real good move, not a real strong move, just to kind of let him know, hey, I'm thinking about you. Don't get too big of a lead. He'll do it a third time. And here's the first pitch to Schaefer. Fly ball, left field. Warner sets up underneath it and makes the easy catch for out number 1. And that'll bring to the plate third baseman Thomas Kaufman. Kaufman 0 for 1. Walked in the third and scored a run, and then struck out walked in the second and scored a run, and struck out in the third inning, and has definitely had some defensive woes over at third base tonight. Johnson's first pitch delivery is high and outside for ball number 1. Gillespie with a moderate lead. Ball outside. 2-0 the count now on Kaufman as Johnson kind of loses his grip there, kind of stretches out his arm and readjusts himself back out here in the mound and see what happens. Must be on first by virtue of a base hit, 1 out. 2-0 the count on the batter, Kaufman. That's in there for a strike. Kaufman with a fly ball into center field. Owen Lane charging hard, but unable to make the catch, and the ball scoots behind him. Looks like Gillespie's going to try for third, and he is going to reach there easily as Lane runs hard, charging in from center field. The ball just kind of scoots under his glove, and there's nobody there to back it up. So that's going to be a base hit for Thomas Kaufman, and Gillespie advances over to third. So runners on the corners with 1 out here in the top of the 5th inning. That'll bring to the plate shortstop Hunter Zimmerman. Again, Jesse Darlington exiting the game in the 2nd inning. He was the starting pitcher tonight. Took one off of the hip in the 1st inning off of Alex Mikett, and then had a play made on him over at third base. I'm not sure what happened, but presuming that he was unable to go due to those events, and Hunter Zimmerman taking his spot. Zimmerman 0 for 1. As he hit it to the shortstop, who committed an error in the 3rd inning. First pitch strike by Johnson. And that ball gets away from Hess behind the plate as Johnson threw that in the dirt, and Gillespie will easily score. Kaufman will advance up to second. And we now have a 7-5 ball game. Again, Johnson with 7 Ks on the evening, but also having his struggles out there, too. 1-1 to count now. I'll hit in between first and second base. That's going to be a single for Zimmerman. And Kaufman will end up at third base. So runners in the corners again for Penns Valley here with 1 out in the 5th. It's going to bring to the plate Calvin Russell, who is 0 for 2 on the night. Fly out to the catcher and a fly out to the center fielder in the 3rd inning.
Now batting Penns Valley, number 7, Calvin Russell.
1 out, runners on the corners. Johnson throws over to first base to check Zimmerman. First pitch delivery is there for a strike, but that ball scoots out of Hess's hands, and Kaufman will score from third. So swinging strike for Russell, but the ball pops out of catcher Alec Hess's hand, gets behind him, and that enables Kaufman to score from third base. And we now have a 7-6 ball game. And Zimmerman is easily able to move up to second. So 1 out, runner on second, 7-6 as 2 runs have crossed the plate for Penns Valley here in the top of the 5th inning. Oh, 1 delivery, fouled away. First baseman Alec Mike is going to give a little bit of a chase, but not much as that ball cruises out of play. And 0-2 the count now on Calvin Russell. So this game has tightened up here a little bit. 0-2 the count now on right fielder Russell. Zimmerman gets his lead off to second base. Curveball strike. And that is the second out of the inning as Russell goes down on strikes, and that is The 8th strikeout of the game for Jack Johnson.
Now batting Penn Valley for 5. Cole Breon.
2 outs, and that's going to bring up catcher Cole Breon. Single in the 2nd and struck out in the 4th. Hander takes an outside strike, and Alec Hess snaps down to Zimmerman, who has got Zimmerman hung up between 2nd and 3rd, and we got a rundown situation. And he is not going to be chased down. Yes, he is. He is going to be out as Zimmerman gets hung up between 2nd and 3rd and gets reported for the 3rd out of the inning. So Valley kind of gets taken out of the inning with 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. So through 4.5 innings of play, Huntingdon still is in the lead, 7-6. Back to you, Greg.
Thank you very much. Chad States live at the Huntingdon Teen League Field tonight as it's Huntingdon versus Penns Valley in 15, 16-year-old action. Brought to you by Prayer Mountain Monuments on 4th Street, Huntingdon, specializing in laser etching of memorial headstones. Their pre-planning consultations are free of charge, and you can select from a variety of monument of styles. Prayer Mountain Monuments open Monday through Thursdays from 9 to 4, Fridays from 9 to 3, evenings and weekends by appointment. Call Prayer Mountain Monuments and Dave McKinney at 669-1316 for more information on a lasting memorial. Also, tonight's game brought to you by Stonetown Gallery Cafe and Wine Bar, the place for all-day breakfast and a fabulous lunch. Artistic atmosphere in downtown Huntingdon at 511 Washington Street, where you can also enjoy dinner and music Friday nights on the patio and courtyard. So stop by, moms and dad, at our wine bar hosted by Happy Valley Winery and Vineyards. Stonetown Gallery, Cafe, and Wine Bar, open Tuesday to Sunday. Closed Mondays. You can like them on Facebook. And they have a fantastic atmosphere, Chad. If you've not been there to Stonetown Cafe and Wine Bar, it is just fabulous, especially Friday night. They rock out from time to time. And I know you love to rock out as well.
I like to rock on, too, but yeah. I think those days have passed me by there, Greg.
Hey, you and me both, pal.
I can't say that I've been to the Stonetown Gallery, but that's no excuse because it does sound like it should be a good venture for the wife and I to make it out to. So
treat her out.
Give that a shot, yeah. Well, actually, it's her treat. It's just the way it goes when you're married. She's the one who's doing the treatment at that point.
There you go.
I knew the next time I know what's in my bank account will be the first time. So here we are, bottom of the 5th. Alec Hess, the catcher, to lead it off. And he fouls away the first pitch on strike number 1. So a little bit of a joke there, but you married guys out there, there's a lot of truth to that, too. So you know what I'm talking about. 0-1 to count now on the catcher, Hess. That pitch comes in behind him for ball number 1. 7-6 your score here, bottom of the 5th, still in favor of Huntingdon. By virtue of a 5-run 4th inning. Saw 6 hits, led off by Alex Hess in that 4th. Gillespie's 1-1 pitch hits Hess, and he will advance up to first base. So, hit by pitch for Alec Hess, and the leadoff batter is on board for Huntingdon. Pitcher Jack Johnson will now come into the ballgame or come up to the plate. Jack 1 for 2 on the evening with a single in that 4th inning and a run scored. And a ground out to the shortstop in the 1st inning. Johnson with a bunt down to third baseman. Third baseman Coffin picks it up and pulls the first baseman off, and he makes the tag on Johnson. And he is called out, but Penns Valley throws the ball around, and Hess is going to score. We're going to wait to see what goes on here. Johnson was called out at first base. So he is out. Johnson is out. Third base to first baseman, so that's a 5-3 in your scoreboard, folks. But Penns Valley decides to throw the ball around and allow Hess to score. Now we're going to see if the call is going to hold up over at first base because first baseman was off. We're going to see if he actually saw the tag. If he saw the tag, he's out. He did. Home plate umpire Tom Culp confirms with the second base umpire. He says, yes, I did see the tag, and Johnson was reported with the first out of the inning. But as Penns Valley continues to throw the ball around, a run scores. We are now out to an 8-6 lead for Huntingdon. So a costly throwing error for Penns Valley, allows Hess to score, and that'll bring third baseman Aiden Walters to the plate. Walters 0 for 1, a fielder's choice in the fourth, and a walk in the second. He also has a run scored here this evening. 1-1 to count now on Walters. Gillespie's pitch on the way, and Walters fouls that away. 1-2. Again, a nice evening down here at Huntingdon VFW Teener Lake Field. If you've ever been down here for the game, I highly encourage you to do so. It is definitely one of the better facilities in the state. Those of us that have traveled around and seen other places and fields due to all-star travel know that all the hard work and all the effort and everything like that goes into this field by President Greg Lender and his staff is well worth it, as Walters lines a shot down the right field line, and he is looking for two as he is going to cruise into second base with a stand-up double here with one out in the bottom of the fifth. So a one-out double by Walters will bring right fielder John Bazin to the plate. Bazin with an RBI single in the fourth and a ground out in the second inning, so he is 1 for 2. And Walters is in scoring position, so I don't believe any type of base hit that Bazin is able to put out here, if he is able to put one out here, Bill Peters is going to have Walters take a look. Last piece pitch is outside and high for ball number 1. Really, I am kind of biased to the field, having been down here for so many years, but if you do travel, you will believe what I'm saying in that this field is really one of the better ones that you're going to find. Last piece. 1-0 delivery in there for a swinging strike number 1 on Bazin. 1-1 to count now. 8-6 your score in favor of Huntingdon. Inside pitch. 2-1 now the count. Bazin with a swinging strike on the outside. Let's count to 2-2. So Gillespie in relief of Darlington and doing a fine job of that. So he came in the third inning. And there's an outside called strike number 3 on Bazin. So 2 outs now in the inning. And that'll bring to the plate Phil Keller. Keller entering the game for Hunter Woomer in the EH spot, his first at bat of the game. Aiden Walters on second base by virtue of a 1-out double. 2 outs now in the inning. Delivery is in the dirt. And there's a strike on the outside corner for Gillespie, 1-1. And there's a weak hit ball hit back to the pitcher. Gillespie's going to field that running towards the first base line for out number 3. And that's going to end the inning for Huntingdon, but not before they score another run and run their lead out to 8-6 through 5 innings. Greg, back to you in the studio.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today.
The only thing I didn't learn today.
The only thing I didn't learn
is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
This is the place for, of course, sports here in Huntingdon County. It is the airnetwork.net. Don't forget, you can hear this game again this evening, by the way, at 10 p.m. We'll have a rebroadcast of this game between Huntingdon and Penns Valley right here on the airnetwork.net. And, Chad, I was thinking maybe we'll even pick up a couple of Pee Wee football games this year. That might be kind of cool as well,
Yeah, it would be cool. Definitely be challenging, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it would be cool. It sounds like a great assignment for Jeff Speck. I think he could call that real good.
Well, especially championship games. I'm thinking more like championship games, huh?
Yeah, we could do that. The championships are usually held down at War Vets Field, so that's a possibility.
That's what I'm hearing, and that track's coming along, by the way. We'll have more details on that later.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's only got, they've got to have it ready to go before game number 1 starts, so see what happens. Now, we are now into the top of the 6th inning, an 8-6 score. It looks like we've got some defensive changes now for Huntingdon as Alex Mikett is now doing the pitching. And Aiden Walters moves over to first base. Ryan Breckbill moves over to third base. And Jack Johnson moves over to shortstop. So outfield still remains the same, but Alex Mikett coming in looking to close this down. Mikett, a tall, lanky right-hander for Huntingdon with real good speed. And he is coming in here in the top of the 6th inning to try to shut things down for Huntingdon. Leading off for Penns Valley will be catcher Cole Breon. Breon 1 for 2 on the evening. Single in the 2nd inning and a strikeout in the 4th. It's delivery upstairs, ball number 1. 1-0 pitch in there for a strike on the outside corner. Mikett looks to work real fast here on the mound. High leg kick by Mikett. Delivery is high and away. Ball number 2. Mikett's got that big, long leg kick. Able to drive through the pitch and bring it in here. That's a strike on the outside corner. 2-2 the count now on the catcher Breon. And that ball elevated a little bit. Runs the count to full. And that ball's fouled back. So Mikett in now in relief of Johnson. Johnson can win it. 8-6 your score in favor of Huntingdon. Again, Mikett moving over to pitch. Trying to close this thing out for Huntingdon. And there's a check swing. Liner down the left field line as Breon is on with a single. So kind of a check field poke. It goes about halfway out into the outfield. And Breon is on with a single. That'll bring to the plate first baseman Matt Tobias. Tobias 0 for 0 in the evening with a sacrifice RBI fly in the 2nd inning and a walk in the 4th. Breon on first. Mikett from the stretch position. Pitch is inside and high. Alec Hessel snapped down to first. That ball not fielded cleanly by Walters. And it skips over to second, so Breon's not going to go anywhere, but kind of a dangerous throw here right now with a 2-run lead. Don't want to put a runner in scoring position if you don't have to. 1-0 the count on the batter, Tobias. That pitch is softly hit to third base. It's a bouncer. Breckbill over to, Huntingdon able to turn to 6-4-3 as it goes Breckbill to Fleming to Walters, and you got a 6-4-3 double play now for Huntingdon. And that's a good way to be able to get out of that one. So 2 outs now in the inning. That'll bring to the plate center fielder Jacob Daniels. Daniels 0 for 1, hit by a pitch and scored a run in the third and flew out to center field in the fourth. Here in the top of the sixth inning, 2 down, 8-6 your score for Huntingdon.
Now batting number 8.
First pitch delivery is high and skips off the glove of Hess. We'll chase that down. We'll get restarted here. Daniels, the center fielder, up. Pitch in the dirt. 2-0 the count now on Daniels. Go delivery in there for strike number 1. Nice heat there. Nice fastball by Mike. He got that elevated up just a little bit, and Daniels unable to catch up to that. And there is a foul ball. Hess chasing, making a diving attempt and just missing in front of the Penns Valley dugout, but a nice attempt by Hess there to chase that ball down and to the count. Two delivery on the way. Mike a curveball. Lined out to the left fielder Werner, who sits up underneath it, makes the catch for out number 3 of the inning. So 3 up, 3 down for Huntingdon, and they retain an 8-6 lead heading into the bottom half of the 6th inning. Greg, we got a 2-run score here, so we'll see if Huntington's able to maintain as they come to the plate here. Maybe they can add to it.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Chad States live from Huntingdon Teener League 15, 16-year-olds. Area 5 play tonight between Huntingdon and Penns Valley. Huntingdon leading in that game, which is brought to you by Ike Taylor, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Join us for the Ike Taylor Show this fall on the Air Network. Ike Taylor, Johnny Harris, and NFL insiders bring you insight to players, games, and information regarding the Steelers and the NFL every Wednesday night at 7, beginning in September. Get the whole story live this fall on the Ike Taylor Show right here on the airnetwork.net. And by the way, look for Ike on the NFL Network throughout the summer and also the fall. The game is also brought to you by Rick Singleton Rentals at William Penn Highway, renting equipment for all your construction needs, from bulldozers, JLG lifts, to excavators, and more. Rick Singleton Rentals has heavy equipment for your next project. Call Rick Singleton Rentals at 643-3993 for rates and details, and find Rick Singleton on Facebook. By the way, Chad, Ike and I, along with Johnny Harris, meeting in Pittsburgh in just a few weeks at Latrobe as the Steelers, by the way, get set to open up their training camp. And so, football can't be that far away. It's already going to be like 2 or 3 days. It's going to be hot out there in August, man.
It's going to be hot out there in August. And, that's good because I'll be listening to all of you from my man cave, which is 62 degrees all year round.
Hey, even this studio is hot tonight. I bet you're enjoying the weather out there, though.
Yeah, it's not too bad in here. So, we usually call the Scorer's Box the hot spot every once in a while. I know that I've been sent up here a time or two thanks to some, I would like to say, minor discussions with some umpires back in the day, but hey, that just happened. But I've spent hotter days up here, but not too bad.
All right.
Set here in the bottom of the 6th inning, leadoff batter Owen Lane for Huntington. Lane 2 for 3 on the evening. 2 singles. Single in the 4th, a single in the 3rd. Also scored a run and has 2 stolen bases along with an RBI. So Owen Lane getting it done all the way around here this evening, and that's what his job is. He's a 4 or 5 tool player. This guy. He's got speed. He can field. He can chase down anything. He's able to hit. He's able to throw. Lacking a little bit of power, but I'm sure that's what this guy will grow into. But Owen's kind of the complete package, and looking forward to seeing what he's going to be doing here as count runs up to 3-0 on him from Gillespie. And Gillespie throws over the top of Lane, and he puts him on base again. So his 3rd time going down to first for Lane, and that's an opposing team. That's not where you want to see him at because he does have some speed. That'll bring up left fielder Jarvis Warner. Warner 2 for 3 on the evening. Double and a run scored in the 1st, flew out to the shortstop in the 3rd, and then an RBI single in that big 4th inning for Huntington as they were able to plate 5 runners to really jump out to this 8-6 lead that they have now. Lane getting the lead over at first. I'm sure he's going to be tearing off here, and there he goes. He's on his way to second base. There's a throw down from Breon, and Lane will get in underneath that tag easily. As he slid behind the tag. The catch was made. Lane was in behind it, and then the guy tried to tag him. So right call was made by the umpire out there. Those who know that I coach here, they know that I'm about 50-50 on those anyway. It's a little bit easier to see from the press box than it is from the coach's box. So Lane in there with his third stolen base. I would not be surprised to see him try to swipe third here either. Gillespie runs the count to 2-0 now on Werner. Lane with the lead off a second. Gillespie takes a look, but delivers a curveball into Werner for strike number 1. 2-1 your count now. And runner on second. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning for Huntington. Essentially 3 outs away from salting away their third victory of this Area 5 tournament. Gillespie throws back over to second base, and Lane able to dive back in successfully. 2-1 your count now on Werner. Delivery on the way, inside and high, ball number 3. Any type of base hit here is going to score Lane. Lane's tearing off for third base. Breon comes up throwing down to Coffin. Ball skips a little bit past him. Lane is going to be held up at third as the ball got through Coffin's legs out to left field, but Coach Peters holds Lane up at third base as he records his 4th stolen base of the evening. Again, I had alluded to it. Lane with all kinds of speed, and Huntington will take advantage of that anytime that he gets on the base pass, either by a single or a free pass. And he's really the type of kid that you don't want to put on the base, or make him earn it. He's able to go from first to third in a hurry. He did just that. Full count now on Werner. Werner fouls off the pitch. Count remains full. No outs. Runner on third here, bottom of the 6th inning. Three-two delivery. That ball is hammered out into left field and is gone. That is a home run for the left fielder, Jarris Werner. So Werner takes the 3-2 delivery from Nate Gillespie and hammers it over the left field wall for a 2-run home run to stretch the Huntington lead now to 10-6. And I got to believe with Alex Micah dealing on the mound that Huntington is for sure only 3 outs away, as the Penns Valley manager will now make a visit out here to Gillespie. No outs in the inning. 2 runs are now scored thanks to the 2-run home run by Jarris Werner as he collects his 3rd hit of the evening. A double in the 1st, a single in the 4th, and a home run here in the 6th inning, and Huntington now out to a 10-6 lead. While we have some time, I'd like to thank Sam's Garage in Huntington, Prayer Mountain Monuments, Stone Town Gallery Cafe and Wine Bar, Cloud Minders, and the Huntington County Drop-In Center for their sponsorship of tonight's game. Also like to thank Rick Singleton Reynolds, William Penn Highway in Huntington, and as Greg had alluded to earlier, the Ike Taylor Show. And I got to believe that is going to be a very, very interesting show. So tune into the Air Network and listen to Ike coming up this fall on the airnetwork.net. Now doing the pitching for Penns Valley. We'll get this pitching change for you here in a second. Cam Schaefer now comes in to do the pitching for Penns Valley, the left fielder, in relief of Gillespie. Wait to get the official word from the umpire, but so Schaefer into pitch. And looks like Gillespie will head out to left field, finish out the ball game out there, and his day is done. So Schaefer in the pitch in relief of Gillespie. Huntington out to a 10-6 lead, thanks to a 2-run home run just moments ago by Jarris Warner over the left field fence. Scored Owen Lane. And again, Huntington looking to get out to a 3-2 record in this Area 5 tournament. Again, the state championships will be held in Mount Union. The state championships for the 13-14s will be held this week. They will be in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, as Huntington was able to go undefeated in tournament play in the Area 5 in advance. There's a first pitch strike by Schaefer on Breckbill. 0-1 to count now. Ryan Breckbill now to the plate for Huntington. He had a double in the fourth, flew out to right field in the third, and grounded to second base in the first inning. He is 1-2 in the evening. That double, though, plated 2 runs in that all-important fourth inning, as Huntington was able to turn the tables and take a 4-3 lead into a 7-4 lead there in the fourth. Ball low. Nope. Yep. Ball was low. 1-2 now the count on Ryan Breckbill. Pitch in by Schaefer, fouled back by Breckbill, back into play. One, 2 delivery on the way. Breckbill fouls that one away. Staying alive now. So Schaefer getting a little bit of a workout out here. And if you're a coach, you'd love to see your batters fouling off pitches. It's one of those things that you like to see an opposing pitcher run up the pitch count. And have your kids do that all day long. 1, 2 delivery on the way. That ball outside, 2-2 now the count. Sun all but gone here at Huntington VFW at Teener Lake Field. Beautiful day, blue sky, light cloud coverage, and Huntington with a 10-6 lead. And there's a shot out to the center fielder. That's going to be over his head, and Breckbill is going to head into second and hold up with a stand-up double. Breckbill with a stand-up double with no outs. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Alex Mikett. So no outs here, bottom of the sixth. Huntington extending their lead by 4 runs. As Breckbill crushing one over the center fielder's head for a stand-up double off of relief pitcher Cam Schaefer. And Mikett fouls one back. 0-1 now the count. Mikett doing the pitching in relief of Jack Johnson. Johnson finishing the game with 8 strikeouts and 2 walks. He is in line for the win. Mikett would be in line for the save. That's a strike on the outside corner. 0-2 now the count on Mikett. And that's strike 3 now on the outside corner as Mikett is called out on strikes looking. First out of the inning. And those of you who have been listening to our broadcast through the winter know that now his name Mikett, as his dad was and still is the head wrestling coach for Huntington, who coached them all the way to a PIAA runner-up finish at the state tournament this year. Huntington's highest ever finish in the state tournament as a team. Batter will be Nate Fleming, the second baseman. There, pitch gets away from Schaefer and rolls all the way to the backstop as Breckbill will advance up to third. And he will look to try to come home as he was sent home. Nope, he was not sent home as Bill Peters puts up his shoulders. It looks like Breckbill decided to go home on his own. I'm thinking that the catcher was coming back a little bit slow. And he is tugged out, so that is the second out of the inning. So now no base runners on for the second baseman Fleming, who is 1 for 3 in the evening, collecting his first hit in the first inning. So 2 outs now in the bottom half of the sixth inning. 10-6 your score in favor of Huntington. So Huntington went from no outs and runner on second to 2 outs and nobody on rather quickly. Coming up, Second pitch in there on a strike from Schaefer, 1-1 to count. And that pitch is high and outside, all 2. Looks like Coach Peters is still a little bit puzzled about what Ryan was doing there on third base, and frankly, so am I, but he must have saw something that he thought that he could make it, but was unable to. Schaefer's pitch inside for ball 3, 3-1 now the count on Fleming. And Fleming fouls this one off into the parking lot. And we did not hear a thud, so somebody's car was saved on that. Goodness. All the kids in the dugouts usually like to see and kind of cheer if a car gets hit, but those of us who drive here kind of cringe whenever we see a ball going to the parking lot. That's why I will take my car and park it all the way as close to the Giant store as I can, because I do not want mine getting hit. Not that my Subaru is a great vehicle, but no dents or good dents. Strike number 3 called on Fleming as he goes down on strikes, and that ends the inning. So Huntington's bottom half of the 6th ends, but 2 runs are coming across the plate by virtue of a Jarris Werner 2-run home run, and Huntington now leads 10-6 after 6. Greg, back to you in the studio.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Time starts now. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat? Where can you find the answers to these questions?
Car crashes are one of the leading killers of U.S. children. Many of those deaths could be prevented by making sure that kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Well, Huntingdon heading into the home stretch. If they can hold them down, they could be a winner. Speaking of winners, Chad State's hanging out at the Huntingdon Teener League field tonight as Huntingdon takes on Penns Valley in the 15 to 16-year-old ranks in Area 5 baseball. Chad, what do they have to do to maintain tonight, huh?
All they got to do is get 3 outs right now, and this will be winner, chicken dinner, as they say on some of the networks. Yeah. And we'll see what happens here. Although it's winner, no chicken dinner for this guy. We'll see what springs along Route 22 on my way home, Greg.
I hear you.
Might be winner, Taco Bell dinner before it's all said and done. We'll see what goes on. But we've got Jared Kynes coming to the plate for Penns Valley in the top half of the 7th inning. Huntington 3 outs away from a victory here. And Alex Micah dealing on the mound for ball number 1. Kynes 1 hit and 2 strikeouts on the night. Huntington 3 outs away here, 10-6 lead. So Micah able to go out here and relax with a 4-run lead here and see what he can do. That pitch on the outside corner for strike number 1. And there's a lightly hit ball over to the second baseman. Fleming will pick it up and throw quickly over to Aiden Walters, who's unable to handle the ball. But that error might end up going on Fleming, the second baseman, as he did not charge that very hard. And Kynes is able to scoot down the base rather quickly. So still life for Penns Valley in this one as Kynes going to reach on an error. And that's going to bring up Nate Gillespie, the left fielder. Gillespie 1 hit on the day, that coming in the 5th inning and 2 runs scored. Takes first pitch for ball number 1. And there's a strike on the inside corner swinging for Alex Mikett. He's smart. He just tries to live on that inside corner. His home plate umpires been giving out all day long, and he does. There's an inside pitch. Hit over to Nate Fleming at second base. Fleming quickly over to Walters for the first out of the inning. Hines is going to advance to second, but his run really doesn't mean much at all, as Huntington is just looking for outs. And that is out number 1, and pitcher Cam Schaefer is going to come to the plate, having an 0 for 3 night tonight. Micah going to work rather quickly here. Curveball is high. Ball number 1. So Micah wasting no time, getting the ball, going back, stepping on the mound, and trying to bring it. Trying to bring it home for Huntington. Second pitch delivery is a high fastball, but Schaefer decides to chase and fouls that one back. 1-1 to count now. One of the hardest pitches to try to hit is the high fastball, and Schaefer went after it and fouled it back, helping out Micah there. 1-1 delivery. Curveball gets away from Micah. High and inside to Schaefer. 2-1 now the count. Micah again working quickly. Comes the pitch on the outside corner for strike number 2. He's wasting no time. Not letting that batter get too comfortable in there. Pitching at his pace. Not letting the batter get any type of rhythm whatsoever. And another curveball, another inside curveball that Schaefer has to duck out of the way on. Runs the count to 3-2. 3-2 count now on Schaefer. 1 out. Hines on second base. Reaches on base due to an error. And there is a swinging strike as an inside pitch by Mike. It has Schaefer kind of ducking out of the way, but the problem is when he ducked out of the way, he brought his bat with him, and that is a strikeout for Mike. So 2 outs. Penns Valley is down to their last out as Thomas Kaufman comes to the plate, having a 1 for 2 night. Inside pitch, called a ball by umpire Tom Culp. Penns Valley down to their last out now. Ball high and inside again, 2-0 now. Mike it not sure that that was the right call, but nonetheless, it is the call, and he has to go with it. It's one of the things as a pitcher. There's an inside strike by Mike, but the one thing you as a pitcher do not want to do is let the umpire see any type of attitude or any type of reaction towards his calls, because that has the ability to go the other way. There's a high and outside strike as Kaufman shakes his head, and again, it goes the same way with the batter, too. You don't want to show the umpire your emotions. 2 strikes now as Penn Valley's on to their last strike of the evening. Our count now is full. Penn Valley down to their last strike. Alex Micah dealing. Here's the pitch, and Hoffman flies that out to left field. Warner on his horse, unable to catch up to that ball as it sails over the fence. So that's a 2-run home run by third baseman Thomas Kaufman. So Kaufman, who was having his troubles in the field, collects his second hit of the night. That's a 2-run home run on Penn Valley, was down to their last strike. And now the gap is closed to 10-8. So still life out here for Penn Valley. Still a long road to go here, but that definitely helps as Kaufman's able to use his power and Alex Mike's speed on the fastball. And we're going to get a pinch hitter as Grayson Wolf will enter the game for Hunter Zimmerman. Still 2 outs, nobody on now. Huntington only needing 1 out to secure the victory and run the record to 3-2 in the area. Penns Valley would drop to 2-2. Not quite sure when Huntington's next game is. This is Huntington's, being informed by President Greg Lender that this is Huntington's last game of this round, so they will go into the round-robin tournament whenever it starts, the elimination tournament, whenever it starts this weekend. So, and Penns Valley down to the last out. Grayson Wolf to the plate against Alex Micah. Micah, first pitch fastball, swinging strike number 1. Mike looking a little bit determined as he's working fast out of the windup, and there's another fastball down the middle, strike number 2. Quickly, Wolf in a 0-2 hole here, and again, Penns Valley down to their last strike. Mike going again, and ball inside. So Mike wasting no time, stepping on the mound, getting ready to go, and delivering the pitch. 1-2 pitch on the way. Strike 3 is called, and that'll end your ball game as Huntingdon will win this one 10-8 as they close their round robin piece of the tournament and head to weekend action and see if they can push themselves onto the state tournament over in Mount Union. Greg, back to you in the studio, and then we'll come back with some late game totals here.
All right, thank you very much. Chad States live at the Huntingdon Teener League Field as Huntingdon defeats Penns Valley tonight 10-8. We'll try to get a clear view of how the tournament will continue, and hopefully we'll be able to get a couple of those games for you before it's all said and done. Meanwhile, I want to thank tonight's sponsors of the Huntingdon Teener League All-Star Game, presented by Rick Singleton Rentals, William Penn Highway, Huntingdon, by the Ike Taylor Show, coming this fall to the airnetwork.net. The game is also brought to you tonight by Sam's Garage in Huntingdon, Prayer Mountain Monuments, Stonetown Gallery Cafe and Wine Bar, Cloudminders in downtown Huntingdon, and by the Huntingdon County Drop-In Center at 512 Washington Street. Watch our Facebook page, by the way, at the Huntingdon County Drop-In Center for more details on this coming month's Fresh Food Express. It's free food. No requirements. We'll tell you more about that. Meanwhile, again, thanks to Chad States for getting us along here. The last couple of games, we did the 13, 14-year-olds on Sunday. And, of course, 15, 16-year-olds, a winner tonight against Penns Valley again. Here with some of the stats, I would hope. And maybe a wrap-up is Chad States. Chad?
Yeah, so Huntington's going to run their record to 3-2 in the Area 5 tournament by virtue of a 10-8 score over Penns Valley tonight. Huntington with 14 hits. Obviously, the big one. Travis Warner in home run over the left field fence. It kind of proves to be the difference in this ball game. But Huntington collecting 14 hits and 4 stolen bases by virtue of Owen Lane showing his speed out there. Penns Valley with 8 runs on 8 hits. They had a 2-run home run of their own by third baseman Thomas Coffin, who tried to make this one interesting here in the later innings. But to no avail as Huntington is able to get the victory 10-8. Jack Johnson with the win, Alex Mikett with the save. And now Huntington will move on to, I don't want to call what they call the elimination rounds, but it'll be on the weekend where they will end up playing at a site to be determined, usually the second place team. And they'll play a couple games to see if they can push themselves on to Sunday into a championship type game, much like the 13, 14-year-olds did. So Huntington's portion of this part is done tonight, and we'll see what happens with them later, Greg.
All right, Chad, sounds like they'll be on the road here later on in the weekend. And we'll try to keep you abreast of what's happening on the airnetwork.net. Of course, just go to our front page and get all the information. Hey, meanwhile, Chad, tonight's game will be, again, rebroadcast at 10 p.m. So if any of the players out there, let them know they can tune in to the airnetwork.net to hear this game in its entirety. And look for it on our front page tomorrow morning right here on the airnetwork.net. So for Chad States, yours truly, Greg Banks, and the rest of the crew at the airnetwork.net, thank you for listening, and the best of luck to the Huntingdon Area 5 Teener League 15, 16-year-olds, and also the 13 and 14-year-olds as well. Best of luck to everybody. Thank you for listening.